All right, Oink. We're going to talk about Oink today. It's been making us money, so I brought my brother McKay on so we could talk about our experience with the Chrome extension Oink. If you're not familiar with that, do you remember what that stands for, McKay?
Does it stand for something?
It does. It's something
Oh,
influencers, something on site. Nope. I don't know. It does stand for something, but it's a Chrome extension you can get for free, or you can get the premium version for $30 a month or $200 a year. I think you can get a coupon code out there, not from us, we're not affiliates, but you can get $15 off or something like that. Just search for it. There's lots of people out there who have affiliate links. And so, McKay, how about you explain to us what it is, and then we'll talk about how it's impacted. Now, just for kind of context, I joined Oink 2.5 weeks ago, and then I got the premium account on August 1st. So I've done 2 full weeks now with the premium. McKay is like a week ahead of me on that, I think, right?
no. I'm like August 1st. I think is about the same for me. Anyway, we that's when I got Pro. I've been using the free version, and to just kind of explain a bit what it is a Chrome extension. You have to be logged into your Amazon account, and it does stuff in the background. Like if you go on your storefront, it will go through all your videos and it will get the ASINs for you. So you have that. You can export it to a spreadsheet, but it uses that information to do a lot of things. So, for example, it can go through and it can find all your videos that you've posted on Amazon, and it can match it up with creator connections. The big thing that I think both me and you have been doing recently is you can use it to fetch all the items that you've been selling that day. So, kind of routine for me is at night, when I've got the longest list of things I've sold, I press a button, it fetches the products or the ASINs that I have sold that day, and then it will go through and it will match it up with creator connections campaigns. So if I only sell that item one time my whole life and there's a campaign for it, it will join the campaign so that I actually get credit for that. Now, and that's one of the paid features, and
Yeah.
basically the only reason that I paid for it in the first place, but it paid for itself in like a day. So
Yeah,
it's
and
pretty
for me
cool.
it took 2 days. Actually, one day because I only paid for a month at a time, but I paid for the whole year. I should upgrade to a year because it already paid for that in like 2 or 3 days. Now, just to clarify, when you do the fetch thing, what McKay just talked about, so it can go through your storefront and find all the campaigns for things that you've reviewed that you've just never accepted the campaign, and then it automatically accepts the campaign for that, and then you start making money. For me, as a free version, I did that, but it takes you like 2 hours to run the whole thing. In the free version, if you pay for it, it takes like 5 minutes. And so, just if you don't want to sit at your computer for 2 hours, or if you don't want to run it at night, that alone is probably worth it, because I went from having accepted 130 campaigns before the Chrome extension to like 2 days after I got the Chrome extension and I ran it a few times, I'd accepted 250 campaigns. So, in theory, that could have doubled my amount of commissions. Now, part of the ones I hadn't accepted yet were my lower commission ones anyways, and so it wouldn't have made a huge difference, but it did make some difference. And I saw that in those first few days that it did make some difference. But the big reason for the paid version is it will go into your offsite and your onsite and find the things that are like related items. So somebody watched your video, but then they bought something else, and it's giving you credit. Now, Amazon doesn't give you credit for those sales, but because of the creator connections, the way that's set up, they're giving you credit for those sales. And so when McKay said you'll only get one sale on that, a lot of these things that I'm now getting creator connections commissions for are things that I've never seen, I've never used, I've never reviewed them, but I'm getting creator connections. Does that sound accurate? You look like you don't believe me.
Correct. I do not believe it.
All right, you explain how it really works then, because
Well, and maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but for my understanding, and let's break this down to offsite and onsite to make sure we're on the same page. So let's say I make a video, uh, post it on YouTube, have a link for, we'll say, a toaster. Someone watches my video on YouTube of a toaster. They click on the link and they decide they don't want a toaster, they want a pizza cutter instead. They buy that. Now, the way offsite works is I will still get credit for that because they used my link to purchase it. So I get the commissions for that. If that pizza cutter is on Creator Connections, then Oink, when I run it that day, it would recognize that. It would say, hey, you sold a pizza cutter, that's on Creator Connections. It would match me up. And because it hasn't processed the sale yet for that, it will do that the next day or the following 2 days. Then I will actually get the Creator Connections commissions for that, which is obviously a lot higher, which is why Creator Connections is so nice. Okay, so that's offsite. I think we're on the same page for that. I think that's pretty well understood. Onsite is weird.
This is why we're making the video, because clearly I don't understand how this works. I just know I'm making a lot more money now, so I brought on the expert to explain it. So keep going, McKay.
Well, I don't know where the expert is, but I'm glad you brought him on. So on site, the way that works, you make a video and you post it to the product page. So we'll go back to the toaster. So I made a video for the toaster. I upload it. It shows up on the toaster page. Someone buys or someone watches that video, and we'll say same thing. They don't buy the toaster, but they buy a pizza cutter. It's like the next thing that they look at and they buy. Now, this is where it's kind of tricky because I don't know exactly how this works. With offsite, it's a 24-hour cookie. So anything that they buy on Amazon within 24 hours, if they're not clicking on other affiliate links, you will get the commissions for that. With onsite, I think it's kind of restricted to like maybe a related item, like if it's in the same category and it's the next thing that they look at. And again, I don't know exactly how this works, but I know that Amazon still sometimes gives you commissions for things that are related. And it might be that a toaster and a pizza cutter are not related enough. So maybe a better example would be a toaster and a different brand toaster or something like that. Maybe it's like a toaster that's on the same page. You know how they'll compare it on the bottom of the page. And again, I don't know for sure, but what I have seen is if you get the commissions for it from Amazon and you join the Creator Connections campaign, then you can get the extra commissions from Creator Connections. And what I think you mean by maybe you're not seeing it is, so there's kind of a tricky way that you can view your sales or part of your sales for on-site sales for that day, but you have to kind of do some weird things where you go to view your whole storefront, or what, I can't remember what that's called. So you go there.
You go. I can explain this one because I have this system down. So this is really weird, but again, this is why we're making the video, because this is money that I was skeptical that this would work, and it has resulted in me making at least an additional $500 just in the last 2 weeks. And so what happens is you go to your view reports, right? And that's where you go, and typically, you can select your drop down for whether you want to look at your on-site sales or your off-site sales, and it will by default show you whatever your sales were yesterday. So let's say we're on off-site sales, looking at yesterday, but then at the top of that report, there's something that says view, what's that one called? Consolidated reports. So you open that in a new tab, consolidated reports, and by default, we're already on offsite. So we're going to consolidated reports on offsite. And with offsite commissions, you can actually do the drop down for your range and select today, and it will show you any sales you've had during this day. And this has always been the case with Amazon, that you could see your offsite sales during the day while they're coming in. And so there you do a fetch in Oink. So you fetch today's sales or today and yesterday's sales. And then you click on you go back to the Creator Connections page, and you click on the whatever the main button it is, and you say, oh, it's hard to not have this up to remember exactly, but you just run the report with today's sales and you get credit for your offsite. Now, still on, so then go back to that tab where you had the offsite today's sales on, and you simply change it from, in your little hamburger in the upper right, you change it from offsite to onsite. And because you've done that by going to the consolidated report in a new tab, when you go to onsite, you can drop down your today tab again, and then it may or may not show what you've sold today, but then if you click on the commissions tab in the middle there, it will show you today's sales so far. So what we're doing now is right before we go to bed, we find today's sales for on-site, fetch today and yesterday's sales, and then run that with Creator Connections. And it's now giving us the 10%, 20% commissions on anything. And for me, the big change here is I'm getting credit now for related sales, but with the higher commission.
Yeah,
Right?
and you've always been getting the credit for those
Right.
other things, but you haven't been getting the higher commissions. And one thing I want to point out, when you do look at your daily total for on-site sales, like for me, it usually ends up being like 150 items or something like that I've sold in the day. Only about half of those are going to count. Like not all of those things are going to count, just the way Amazon figures things out. And they're not very transparent on how they do things. So we are left guessing. I don't think there really is an expert on this, but really the power of Oink. And I was a free user for a long time. And the reason I didn't switch over to Pro is because a lot of this stuff you can just do manually. Like you could go to your on-site or off-site sales, you could type in you could find the ASIN of a product you've sold, go into Creator Connections, paste it in there, find it, and you could manually join the campaign. But that, you could be spending an hour every evening doing just that. With Oink, it reduces it to a few minutes. And that's really, I think, where the power of Oink comes into play. One question I've seen a lot, people are asking about Oink, and they're on like the free version or something like that. If you're not selling a lot as is, maybe you don't need to go to Pro yet. But from the people I've talked to, you're probably going to maybe even double your earnings from Oink. So if you're earning like $1 a day or 50, let's say 50 cents a day, you double that, now you're earning $1 a day. That's roughly the price of a monthly subscription. So maybe it's not worth it. But if you're selling like, well, and what you're probably going to say is it does speed things up. Like it makes a lot of things easier. And I think the value that I see in it is a lot of the things that Rob or Fizz or whatever he goes by, the things that he's programmed in there, like a lot of those things I was doing myself. Like I write scripts, I automate a lot of things myself, but a lot of things he put in there are things that I just didn't even think of. And now that I use the extension, it was like, oh yeah, you can do that. That makes a lot of sense. And it helps out a lot with that way. So that's the value I've got from it, other than like, $1,000 from.
So I have a quick question, and then let's talk about earnings a little bit. I haven't, Rob made a bunch of videos that talk about Oink. I haven't watched any of them. Do they actually walk you through what we just talked about with how to actually do the fetch and for today's sales and stuff like that?
Yes,
He has a lot of videos, so it's hard to know which one to see.
He does have a lot of videos, and maybe if you're watching this and you've seen Rob's videos and you think a consolidated, maybe step by step would be useful, let us know, and maybe that's something that we could do. It's really hard though because Amazon, they don't want you to show your screen.
Yeah,
Lots of people do
that's the
it,
challenge.
and you're probably not going to get in trouble. But like for me, this is my livelihood. I'm not going to risk that. So that's kind of one of the problems. And I think Rob's the same way in his videos. He's very careful with what he shows. So it's more just kind of like how we're doing, talking through things. But there's probably a way you could add some graphics to make it a little more clear. But I'm pretty sure he does talk about all of his videos, but unless you're subscribed and watching all of his videos, I don't think he has like a consolidated, up to date, here's every single feature and why to use it.
Right. All right. Well, let's tell you why you should try this because I'm a believer. Woo. Um, so for me, this is not my livelihood. This is something I do on the side. And, you know, for the first year or two, so I started at the end of 2021. No, the end of 2022. So 2023 was my first year as an Amazon influencer. And I remember at the time being so excited. In fact, I started having some really bad sleep habits because I wanted to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to check how much money I'd made the day before because it doubled my income. So I'm a school teacher, and Amazon influencer was huge for me. I've made almost $150,000 now doing product reviews, and it was really, really exciting. And so for over a year, I was like waking up early. I had to always check my reports. And then if you've been in this game for a while, you know, over the last year or so, everything's been declining. It's been more saturated. And so now I can go weeks at a time without checking my earnings because it's depressing. Like I have 10 times the videos I had then, but I make 1/10 the amount of income that I made back then, which can be defeating unless you step away from that and think, well, I'm still making $50, $100 a day for basically doing the work 2 years ago. And so this is still a good gig, you know? So that's where I'm coming from. And then with Creator Connections, I know McKay has made a lot more money with offsite, and with Creator Connections, he's been crushing. So if you watched some of our videos, he's talked more about that. You can go in the archives. I have not. So I've been averaging about $500 a month in Creator Connections. And at McKay's suggestion, put a little more time and effort into it this summer, reached out to more companies, got more products, did some free reviews, something I haven't done for a long time. And what I've seen is incremental increases in my Creator Connections, where I went from 500 a month to 600 a month to last month was almost 800 a month, which was my best month so far this year until August. And we're only halfway through August now, and I've already surpassed last month. And so I just want to put that plug in there that just with this extension, this Chrome extension, I've been able to double, at least double. Actually, we looked at it, and I went from making $23 a day on Creator Connections last month on average to so far this month I'm averaging $67 a day. So almost triple what I was doing before. And my Creator Connections now just about match my on-site earnings. So I've made about $1,500 so far this month on-site, which is a little bit more than last month. And I've made about $1,000 with Creator Connections. So that's kind of where I'm at now. McKay does way better with this. So if you were willing to disclose anything or at least tell us your trends, that would be cool.
Yeah. So without Oink, I've been averaging for the past few months about $9,000 to $10,000 a month in Creator Connections, and with Oink so far, we're just over halfway through the month, so about 2 to 3 weeks, I've earned an extra $1,000 just from Oink. So it's, I mean, obviously it pays for itself, and my attitude kind of going into it was like, I really dislike subscriptions. I don't like being tied down to something. I don't like having money taken out of my bank account. Like that was my main, like I've never really had a problem with the money itself. It's just the subscription model. Don't like it. So my attitude was, well, I'll try this for a month, see how it goes. And if it makes its money back, then I'll consider staying subscribed. And you know, after the first day when I started running the reports or fetching the daily sales, and I'm like, I think the first day was like I made back like $40 just from Oink, so it paid for itself in one day for me, and so it's a no brainer. But I think regardless of where you are, it's probably like if you're making any amount of money already with creator connections, or on site or off site, it's probably worth the $30 to just try it for a month and to use some of the features, especially the daily fetch. I think that's where most people are making their money, because these are items that you're not selling consistently. These are just like one-off items that you would never get paid for originally. And let me just like on that point, I used the free version of Oink for a long time, and I would pull the asins, and then I had my own script, and I would sync things up with my report. So each month I do my finances on the first day of the month. I would actually run my own script where if I sold one or two items of something, then I would go in and I joined that creator connections campaign. But the thing I was missing out on is all of those items that I sold just one item of, like I wasn't getting any credit for that. And I like before I get the pro version of Oink, I'm like, well, it's not worth my time. It's just one item. Like I'd have to manually go in, look for that item, join it, get maybe $1. But now that it's automated, like it really, really adds up. And I think that's been the nice thing with it, is just it's simply automated. It's a lot of fun too. Like it's not like it's a drag to have to manually go in and say fetch my items and run the report. It's kind of like what you said. You wake up early. It's kind of like Christmas. Like you don't know what you're gonna get. It's kind of it brings some excitement for those of us who do reviews, and Christmas is dead because we hate getting products now. This is the best thing we can get to Christmas, is to see like what are we going to get this day.
Yeah. And let's be clear here. While it's automated, it's not fully automated. So we have to remember before we go to bed each night to run a quick cycle through all your thing. You have to do that thing we explained at the beginning of this video where you open a new tab, and it takes about 5 minutes, which doesn't seem like that big a deal unless you're super tired and you just want to go to bed. Then it's kind of a pain, right? And so the hope is one day this will be fully automated where you just get the subscription, it does it for you, it does all the fetches and adds all the campaigns. That would be super cool. But it is like the early days of Amazon Influencer, where now it's during the afternoon when they update your creator connections. And so we're checking at 2 to 3 Mountain Standard Time to see how much did I make yesterday. And for me, this last week I had 2 different $200 days between on-site and creator connections. Even during Prime days last month, I didn't have a $200 day. So I'm actually having better days now on a normal day in the middle of the week than I was having with the best day without creator connections and the Oink extension. So for me now, it's super excited because I'm making over $1,000 a week again, which I haven't been in over a year, making that kind of money with Amazon Influencer. And so it's made a huge difference for, this is my side income, but to make, $7,000 a month instead of $4,000 a month, for me, that's still a big, big difference. For anyone, that's a big difference. To make an extra $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, it's totally worth at least looking into and playing around with the extension.
I think the last thing I will say about it is like, I mean, neither you or I are affiliates. We're not going to benefit if you sign up for Oink. The creator Rob Fizz, he seems like a great guy. I think he's making plenty of money from this extension. He probably doesn't need more. He'd probably welcome it though. But I think the real value of it is if you use the extension, you kind of look through all the features, you watch some of his videos. I think it's helpful to rethink just kind of how you consider a lot of the things, what it's possible to do. I kind of have a fear, like from Amazon's or the seller's perspective, like it seems like a weird setup. It almost seems like this is some sort of loophole. Like we shouldn't be able to do this. Like, and to be clear, this is completely above board. This doesn't break any rules. This is completely legit. Just the way Amazon has it set up, it seems to be to incentivize people to make content for it. And obviously, we're benefiting from content we've already made from it. I don't know how long this is going to last. So take advantage of this opportunity while you can.
Yeah, cool. Well, our goal today was just to hop on and tell you about Oink. We've wanted to since we started doing this because we've been chatting back and forth. It's really fun. Like often during the week, we're like, "How did you do today?" And it's really made doing reviews exciting again. And I'm loving. You can't really tell the mess that I have in here, but I'm redoing my home office because I made an extra $1,000 this month, and I was like, I'm getting new bookshelves, I'm getting new lighting, I'm getting new monitors for my computer, and just this extra little thing. I mean, that's why many of us got into this game in the first place. We wanted to work from home, we wanted a little bit more side income, we wanted to do some things that we couldn't do before, and this has made that possible for me once again, which has been really, really fun. McKay, anything else you want to chat about just in the whole product review space, or anything else going on?
I will mention one last thing with Oink, just because I know this is a question a lot of people have, and I've experimented with this maybe a bit more than other people. When should you fetch your data from Oink? Um, I've experimented. The way it works is it pulls your data for the day, or it can even go a day before. I tried to experiment just pulling the data every single morning, and I did it one morning and it seemed to catch everything, and I was really happy. I did it the next morning and it seemed to catch nothing, but I kept on tracking the data. So even a day after that and a day after that, so we're talking about 2 or 3 days after I sold the item, I still got credit for it because you do get credit for when it ships out, not for when you actually made the sell. And it appears that Amazon, as long as you join the campaign before they process the payment or ship out the item, you will get credit for that. So it seems technically you could probably do it every morning, first thing in the morning, and be okay. But it does seem like it may have skipped a few things. Like there were a few items where I saw that the item showed up on my sales for Amazon on site, but it didn't show up for my creator connections earnings. So I think most people do this, and this is what I'd recommend. Run it once before you go to bed, run it again right when you wake up. That way you're getting the whole gamut of what you sell, and you're probably just, you might still miss out on one or two things, but probably not.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's it. We've been
cool.
talking forever.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. It's been nice chatting. If you have any questions, we may or may not be able to answer them, but you can put those in the comments. And we're hoping to do more and more videos like this, especially after I've gotten my home studio set up and it's easier for live streaming. We're hoping to do either a weekly or a monthly or some kind of regular where we both hop on and talk about product reviews. But let us know if you have any questions. And there is a little bit of FOMO right now, so take what we recommend with a grain of salt. It might work today and it might not work tomorrow. So we don't know, but we want you to be able to maximize your earnings. And so, you know, do that. All right. See you later.